Welcome to MultiVersus, a brand new platform game that has released in open beta. You can download this game on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox. It's available to play right now, and what we're going to do in this video is go through 20 MultiVersus tips and tricks, and it's the ultimate MultiVersus guide for beginners. This video will also contain chapters, so if you want to have a flick through those, you can see, because there might be something that you're already familiar with. So jumping in with number 1, each of the characters available in the game have their own moveset. For an example, if we have a look at Wonder Woman, you will see her base attacks are like Amazon Combo, Shield Bash, then she's got specials like Warrior's Charge. Then if we jump over to Superman, Superman's got Super Punch, Kryptonian Combo, Overhead Strike. Then over on the specials, Locomotive Charge, Ice Breath. And it's not just the names of these attacks that are different, it's the attacks themselves. Some characters are going to have attacks that are going to be harder to combo with, and it's going to be basically just harder to get used to using that character. But tip number 2 is that each character has the exact same controls. So even though some might have more attacks or less attacks, if you go into the game's controls, so if we have a look, keyboard and mouse, for an example, every single character, if you press J, you're going to do your base attack, K is special attack, and if you're stuck with any of the controls, if you haven't done the tutorial or anything like that, then head to your settings, you can check out the controls, and it's going to help you get used to the game even more. Tip number 3, and just before we jump into this one, if you are not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do sub, turn notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, all support is greatly appreciated, and if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description, and let's get back to it. So jumping back into number 3, you are allowed to do everything twice in this game. You can double jump, then when you are in the air, you can attack twice. If I use my special attack, you'll see there. And also you can dodge twice whilst you are in the air. Everything can be done twice. Tip number 4, and this is across any character, if you glow yellow, that means you are armoured. But be careful because armour will not make you invincible, as some attacks on characters are armour breaking. Tip number 5 is if you touch the edge of the battle, so if I jump down here and I touch the edge, it refreshes everything. So I can do a special, I can jump off, and then I can do another 2 specials. So anytime you are in the air, if you touch the side of the platform, you will refresh absolutely everything that you're allowed to do twice. So jump in, special attacks, and dodge in. Number 6 is the little blue bar underneath the damage box. So if you have a look at the yellow box underneath Wonder Woman, it currently says 0, then there's a blue bar underneath. If I dodge, that bar will go down. So if I do it for a moment, you'll see that bar has gone down. That bar will take a little while to come back. It's basically stamina. And the reason it takes a little while to come back is so that you can't just continuously spam dodge as you are fighting other players. Number 7 is tied to dodging. When you dodge, you are invincible. For that second, like the duration of the dodge, that makes you invincible. You can't take any damage. So if you are able to absolutely master dodging, you've basically mastered defense. It's pretty much your only sort of like basic defense in the game. It does get a lot more advanced with the defense. Things like your knockback influence, we'll get into that later in the video. Tip number 8 is that characters have standard attack moves and special attacks, and some of your attacks can be charged up to deal extra damage. So you'll see left hand side you've got the standard attacks, right hand side you've got the specials. So an example of a charged attack would be if I just stand still and hold my basic attack, I can charge up instead of just doing the standard hit. So you'll see that the like round bar that charges the attack, you'll see it pops up. If you just press it, but if I hold it, it will charge it up and it will deal extra damage. However, you can also charge up some defensive attacks. So if I hold up and do my special, you'll see that I hold it there for a moment instead of just going up and coming back down. Tip number 9 is going to be about status effects, and they are very, very big in this game. There are lots of status effects ranging from freeze and burning to weakened. So make sure if you are playing 2v2 that you synergize with your teammate to have the best chance of winning. If you have a look at Superman's attack list under the specials, you'll see that Ice Breath makes the next hit deal ice damage. Tip number 10, as I mentioned in tip number 7 about the knockback influence. Knockback influence is going to be a really big part of your defense, and it's really, really important to use it because what it's going to do is stop you receiving a bigger chain of attacks, and also it can stop you from being knocked out of the arena. So what knockback influence is basically it gives you the ability to rotate the launch angle when you're hit with knockback to avoid being smashed out of the arena. That's what the glossary in the game will tell you. So essentially, if you're being hit and you're being hit to the left, if you're holding right, it's going to stop you going as far, so it lowers your chance of being knocked out of the arena. Tip number 11, MultiVersus is not a normal fighting game. It's not like your Mortal Kombat where you deal a certain amount of damage and that's round over. Instead, MultiVersus is a fighting game where you can deal as much damage as you want. As an example, you could deal 1,000,000 damage. If I go over to Shaggy and hit him a couple of times, you'll see that number building up. So he's on 69 damage, now goes up to 71. Your goal in this game is to knock your opponent either too high or too far off the platform. So they can go down underneath the platform, they can go off to the sides, or they can go above. If you knock them far enough, you will get a point in the round, and that is how MultiVersus is played. It's about knocking your opponent out of the arena. Tip number 12 is about the different game modes available in MultiVersus. As you can see on the screen, Teams is recommended. It's a 2v2 battle. But you can also play 1v1, you can play co-op against the AI, and you can play a 4-player free-for-all. All the modes play out differently. As an example, in Teams, there's 2v2, you're all on the same platform, and it's the first team to knock either of the players on the other team out of the arena 4 times. So basically, his first to 4 knockouts will win that match. And as mentioned previously in the video, each of the characters in the game has different movesets and stuff. So depending on your game mode, make sure you are picking the right character for the right game mode. Experience and practice is going to be your best friend when it comes to MultiVersus. Tip number 13 is that there is a hidden stat in Multiverse, and that is based on character weight. So the heavier a character, the less they're going to go flying. The thing is with the character weight, if you have a look, we have Iron Giant here. He's absolutely massive. It's not all about their size. He is probably one of the heaviest in the game, but as an example, Superman might be a little bit heavier. It's just about playing with the different characters, figure out their weight and see how much they're getting knocked off and stuff. But weight is a factor in this game. It's going to determine how far you go flying based on the damage that you receive when you are in the battle. Tip number 14 is that some moves in MultiVersus can be aimed. So as an example, if I hold W, so it's an up attack, and I hold K for my special, I can't actually hit Shaggy. Whereas if I take a step back, I hold up, but I hold right at the same time to walk towards Shaggy. It therefore lowers the attack, so I can do the same attack, because if I just hold right, it's going to do a grab. But if I hold up and right, it does the car spin, but it's going to aim the attack. So that's very, very helpful if you're using a big character that might not necessarily be able to hit another character if they're far too small. Tip number 15 is the arenas in the game. The arenas can change. You're not always going to get the same one. This is the test lab, or just the lab as they call it. And you'll see that I can actually hit Shaggy up above me, to the side, and everything is open. So if we were playing on Scooby Doo's mansion, if I go over to the side over here, you're going to see that there's a massive wall. If I then jump up in the middle, you'll see that coming out of the arena, the only way is at the top of the screen. So what you can do on this one is, if I just keep hitting Shaggy and I try and get him over to the wall, you will see that I have broken the wall. So I can now, if I don't even try and get him off, if I just jump off the edge, there you go. So the maps can open up. They're not all exactly the same, like top, sides and bottom. Some of them can have locked walls and things like that. So the maps are different. And it's important to pay attention to that when you're going into a battle. Because you could be playing on this map and you're trying to knock your opponent off the side and the wall's not broken down. So it'd just be easier to smack them upwards. Tip number 16 is that there are character classes in Multiverse, or just classes in general. The characters are going to have different classes. If you have a look here, Shaggy is a bruiser. Then you've got Wonder Woman as a tank. Batman is a bruiser. Superman is a tank. There are 5 different classes in the game. You've got bruiser, tank, support, mage, and you also have assassin. So like here, Finn is an assassin. If we go into the move list and we scroll down on the bottom left, you can see here glass cannon. Assassins have high speed and high damage, but they lack durability. As a result, assassins take 14% additional damage from all sources. So there are differences, benefits, like pros and cons to each of the different character classes. Tip number 17 is when you are fighting, keep an eye out for something that pops up called attack decay. Attack decay means that you are using the same attack over and over again, therefore is going to deal less damage and less hit stun. So if I show you here, if I just keep just doing a standing attack, or if I do a left side attack, and I keep doing it over and over again, eventually, after time, you will start seeing there, it says attack decay. It means that it's going to deal less damage. So make sure that you're switching up the moves. I wouldn't necessarily say button bash, but switch up the moves, make it a little bit different, use some variety, and you won't suffer from dealing less damage. Tip number 18 is that characters have perks in MultiVersus. You'll see here we have 3 different perk slots. You'll have things like Lumpy Space Punch. Your team deals 5% increased damage with melee attacks in the air. Then you can stack it and get 10%. So that is if your ally selects the same perk. But then you also have signature perks. So with the Iron Giant, you've got Afterburners. When his rocket boosts ignite the ground, they leave behind firewalls. Then you've got Static Discharge. Iron Giant's passive grants a stack of thorns for each unique source of grey health. And you do have a glossary in the game, so you can go here, you can have a look at the modifiers, and then if you're struggling to understand what thorns are, then go down and it will show you thorns. So when the owner of the status effect, modifier, whatever you want to call it, when the owner receives damage, the attacker receives some in return. So make sure you're keeping variety in the gameplay, getting used to all the different characters and stuff, but don't switch up all the time. Have it sometimes where you're using the same character to build up their level and unlock their perks, because these do need to be unlocked through character leveling. Tip number 19, the penultimate tip, is the fact that characters have individual levels. They will unlock things like perks, badges and profile icons. So you'll see here, for getting to level 2 with Wonder Woman, I got Kryptonian skin. Your team receives 4% reduced incoming damage, stacked up to 6% if your teammate uses it as well. Then I will get 5 toasts, which is a currency. And then if we go along and we go to tier 14 or level 14, mastery level 14 even, I will get the Amazonian profile icon. Then at 15, you get a Wonder Woman wins badge. I'm guessing that's going to basically stat track and tell you how many wins you've had. And the final tip, tip number 20, MultiVersus has daily missions. At the moment I've got starter missions. I've completed 2 out of 7, and you will see that these award gold. Gold can be used to purchase characters. So if we go into the collection and we have a look, for an example, Wonder Woman, there's nothing here because I've already got her unlocked. And then if we go over to Shaggy, because he is still locked, you'll see the little keypad there. If we go into his character screen and you click unlock, you will see that it's going to cost me 1500 gold. Or there is also a premium currency which costs real money. But it's not just daily missions that award gold, you can also get it by playing and completing matches. So that was the ultimate MultiVersus guide for beginners with 20 tips and tricks in there. That is also going to wrap up this video. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.